What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, this is TWA Motorsports, and today we are working on the beater truck. You know, the one that I bought to daily drive. I said wasn't going to be a project. It's still not going to be a project, but there are some things that I need to address, and I talked about those in the first video with the headlights, and we've got some of those incoming, as well as some bulbs, just because I'm going to be driving this all the time, and at night, guys, it really sucks right now. The other thing that I talked about was the headliner inside. And then I'm not even sure what else I talked about in the video, but there are some updates that we need to make, and a couple that I didn't talk about that I didn't really know because I filmed that right when I got it is that I got a wheel out of balance and these tires are kind of and so I decided to get a different set of wheels and tires. Now, normally on something like this, I'd try to buy a set of used tires, like a set of takeoffs, factory 20s, but I couldn't really find anything, guys. Those are getting harder and harder to find. And then the other thing, so we're going to be replacing those today, and I'll show you what we're going to be replacing them with here in a minute. But the other thing is my mirrors. Both of my mirrors are broken, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a break right here, and then the other one on the dented door, which I think I'm going to have a PDR guy maybe try to pull this out. This truck's, it's not great, but it's better than a rusted out one. It's not all rusty, but this one is broke as well, and it's broke way worse. And so, guys, I have a neighbor that has a Tahoe, and the rumor is that the Tahoe mirrors with the turn signal and the white cap will work on these. So I asked him how much he wanted for them. He said nothing, and I'm still going to pay him for them. I went over there and got them, but here they are on the ground here, and obviously they are white, and they do have the turn signals in them. Now these are heated, so like I said, the word is that they will fit, and so we're going to try that today. The other thing we're going to do, obviously, is we're going to put some wheels on it, and my uncle had a set of Chevy SS wheels. Now, not Chevrolet, not like the SS we just sold, but the Silverado SS. So I bought those from him, and I actually bought those tires from him too, and they are no good, or at least not to my level of feeling comfortable driving on them. They still have some tread on them. They'd probably be okay, but I just didn't feel comfortable with them. So I've got a new set of tires, and I will list all this stuff in the description down below. You might be able to find these on eBay. I'll put a link down there. But the tires are a new version of the Nitto, and I don't know, I'm kind of back and forth on the tread. I got a good deal on them, and I'll list these in the description and the size I'm using down below, because we are going down a little bit in size, and not because I think I'm going to lower this, but just because I think these look a little too meaty, and I don't know. We'll just have to see when we get them on. But anyway, we're going to get started. I'm going to jack this thing up, and we're going to take these old wheels off. The other thing is the center caps. Let me see if I can grab them here. The center caps have kind of delaminated, and so I got to figure out something to do with that. For now, I'm just going to stick them on. Like I said, I'm not trying to make a show truck here, and I know this truck is really nasty. I haven't cleaned it from when I drove it in the rain, but I do want to update a few things. Now, there's a couple other things that I need to address too. The blend door actuator has went out on this, and I don't know if you guys know this, but on those dual zone climate control trucks, a lot of times you'll get hot air on one side and cold on the other. As a matter of fact, a buddy of mine that I did a truck for not long ago, we put headlights in his pewter truck and pulled the chrome off the side. He said he's having that same issue, and so I'm going to be making a video on how to replace that very, very soon. But for today, I think we're just going to stick with the wheels and the mirrors. I'm going to show you guys how to take the door panel off, and I will also list in the description, hopefully a link to like eBay, maybe where you can pick up a cheap set of these mirrors. Always, guys, you could go to a salvage yard or Craigslist marketplace, or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. I'm also going to, I get a lot of questions about my chair. I'll list that in the description down below. I like to use that to wheel around. It makes life a little easier on me. So a couple of you guys have been asking about that thing. I will list that in the links down below as well. But let's get started, jack this thing up, and let's see if we can get these wheels and tires on. So now that we got them all on, I am going to go ahead and torque them. And guys, I always torque my wheels. I don't care if I have somebody else put them on, which generally I don't, kind of like you saw here, even on beater trucks. I just like to put them on myself, but I always like to torque them down, and if somebody else puts them on, I always go back and retorque them. I'm just finicky like that. I don't want a wheel to come off, and I don't know, you just don't know who you're dealing with sometimes when you go places. But I torque these anywhere from 100 to 110, and so it's up to you. Check out the specs on your vehicle. That's just what I generally do on trucks like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque these down. We'll step back, take a look at it before we start the mirrors. So I went ahead and snapped the center caps on after I torqued everything down. I did take it down the road so it would settle out. A lot of times when you pick these up, they just settle weird. So it does create a little bit of a fender gap, but guys, you know how I am, and if I decide to lower it down the road, this will be the right tire because I'm not gonna slam it. And while it's not my favorite factory GM wheel, it definitely looks better than the 18s that were on it, and seems to have gotten rid of my vibration that I had because I think I had a tire out of balance or a bad tire. So anyway, I think it looks pretty good other than the center caps, and you can see this one's the worst one out of the bunch. Water gets behind that. I'm not sure what I want to do there. I don't know if that's a sticker that I can pull off. I think it is, but I may just wrap that in vinyl for now, just some black vinyl. If you guys know of anything, I know you can order like bubble stickers like that, but the last ones I ordered came from like Ukraine, and it took forever. And I don't like, look at how these fit. They move around a lot. I'm surprised you don't hear that going down the road. I don't know, just like I said, it's not my favorite wheel, but it definitely looks good on this truck. I wish I didn't have that dent there, but looks a lot better. And like I said, I'm not trying to make a show truck. We are just trying to make a good daily driver. So let's move on to the mirrors. Now onto the mirrors, we're gonna take off this triangle piece up top here, and I'm just gonna use a plastic pry tool to get in behind here, snap this loose. There's only two pieces, so pry here, and then it comes up out of here. Now, on the older stuff like my green truck, we would be finished right now. We could just take the plug out, it actually comes down here, and that would be it. But on the newer ones, it's a little more in depth because the plug goes a little further in, it actually comes in here to this. So we gotta take a little more off when we go to that. And so I'm gonna take this guy off here. And this is a little bit trickier. Kinda gotta get in behind it. I think I'm gonna have to take off the lock first. It should just pop out. Gonna have to go get a different pry tool, I have a feeling. There we go. So the reason we need to take this out is there is a bolt behind it. Now it's a 7mm, and that's part of what holds this panel on. The other thing is, make sure the camera gets down here and sees this. We have this guy here, so I'm gonna pop it off as well. And then we're going to thread it off the handle. And then, depending on what model you have, there's a couple other pieces, and the camera's going to get a little noisy, guys, but we got a piece here, and then there's another one on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and take both of those out. Once we get those out, then we can go ahead and loosen the 7mm here. There's one back here behind, and then I loosen this 10mm. I don't think you necessarily have to, but I always do anyway, in case I need to move stuff around. Take a few 7s out here. We're going to take the 7 out here. Take the 7 out back here behind the handle. It's hard to get to sometimes. Quite a bit longer than the one you took out up top. Now, on the Tahoe that I took these off of, it didn't have this guy here, which is a Torx. So I'm going to have to go grab a Torx bit and get that one out, and then we should be good to lift the panel up. That's how they come off. You don't pull them out. They don't have tabs like the older ones, or they do have tabs, but they don't have the plates that hold them. You don't have to pull them out first. You actually push them up. So we'll get this out, we'll push it up, and then we'll worry about getting our window switches unplugged. So this guy here is a T20. Wasn't sure on what size it was. Now, other than the window switches, there is one other thing you're going to have to unplug, and that will be the light down here. The Tahoe that I took this off of, the light was missing, so somebody had already yanked it off, apparently. But at this point, we should just be able to pull this thing up, just like that, and it separates. Now I'm going to reach down here, we're going to unplug the light. Maybe easier to push the light out, actually. And then we're going to unplug all the connections for your stereo and all your window switches, which you're not going to be able to see that because I can't get the camera positioned. Now, you can pull the window switches out, but it makes it a little harder. So I'm going to get underneath this, pull this out, and we'll get the panel out of the way. Now, most of these plugs are kind of the pinch and pull type, so you pinch, here and pull them out. But this guy here, it has a swing on it, so you have to push this down in order to swing that out. So we've got it out of the way, and I really, like I said, I didn't need to take the bolt out of the handle, but I did anyway. Now we need to pull, this is our mirror here. So this guy here goes up to our mirror, and that is the one that we need to pull out. So we're gonna have to go ahead, pull our plastic back enough to get that wire out. And then it does have some keepers. If you want to push those out, you can. It doesn't really matter since this one's not going back in, and they're easy to break, believe me. Once we get those out, then we can go ahead and take the 3 10mm that hold the mirror on out of place. Now, I don't know if GM did this on purpose, but once you have all your wiring loose, you can go ahead and take the 10s out, but there's a thing in the middle that holds it in place. So it kind of helps if you're doing a one-man operation to keep the mirror from falling out. Now, if those tabs are broken, you might put your hand on the mirror on the outside, but at this point, we can push those tabs together and pull this mirror out of place. And now we just need to go back together with the new one. Get the new one threaded in here. Trying to be careful not to drop it. Once we get that centerpiece snapped in, it might hold it. I'm going to keep my hand on it just in case. I don't want to drop this one. Dropping the broken one's fine, but I don't want to drop the new one, or the new to me one. Get a couple of these 10s ran down. And then we'll just snug these down. Guys, you don't want to get these super tight because it is going into plastic. I'm just going to tighten these by hand. I'm not going to use my impact to tighten them. So as you can see, I've got that tightened up, and I went ahead and routed our wires back to the exact same spot. So we are ready to put this door panel back into place. Obviously, we need to plug all our same connections back in, which is kind of a pain. You're kind of doing it blind unless you get in from the bottom. Anyway, you're not going to be able to see much, so I don't know that I'll show you this process. We'll take a look and see, we'll test it here in just a second to see if they're working. So I went ahead and slid the panel back on. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put the light in down here at the bottom. I ended up unclipping this because it was easier than unplugging it. There's just a real tight area right here where it's kind of a pain. And now we just need to run all our bolts back in, and we'll we'll take a look to see if it works. Now, it may plug in a little bit differently on the bottom, but guys, there's only one way to plug it in, so it won't go in any other way. So if it's coming out of a different plug than it came out of originally, I didn't even look at that. That's because it only fits in one direction. So there's several plugs in here, and some of them are not used. I believe 2 of them. So I think you switch to another on your blue plug. But like I said, it'll only plug in one way, so don't force it in a spot that it doesn't go. But I'll get this all buttoned up and back together, and we will test and see if the light works, like the turn signal, and then all our mirror functions. So I felt like the easiest way to show you guys, or even see if it works, I haven't even tried it, is let's start this thing up. I don't even know if it needs to run, but let's go to this mirror. Okay, so the up and down and right and left work, which is good. So let's see. Oh, we got a blinker. So what's crazy to me is that for some reason, like 2005 and up is what they say this works on. This truck happens to be a 2005, so I don't know that you could take a mirror on like a 2003 and up, because here's what I do know. You can't put a turn signal mirror on like my green truck in there. So like 99 to 02 doesn't have this option. Now it might have on the upper level trim, but you can't just go buy a set of mirrors and it be plug and play like this. So I really think that when they move to these new switches, I actually think that 2003 and up may work. It might not. I know for a fact 2005 and up work, and obviously we've proved that today. But I'll go ahead and swap the other one. We'll step back and take a look at it, because it is going to look better. Like I said, guys, I'm not trying to make a show truck here, but I needed some replacement mirrors, and you can't argue with the price of these, obviously. So I'll get the other one done. I won't show you guys that because it's the exact same process, and we'll step back and take a look at the whole thing. Well, guys, we are all finished up and everything worked. So it worked on the other side, and sorry if you're getting some wind noise. It got all windy on me, but definitely looks better. Like I said, I'm not trying to make this thing what it's not. It's got a lot of rock chips and stuff on the hood, which I don't know what I'm going to do there. I'm going to touch them up, but I'm not sure. If I could find a hood, that'd be best, but if not, I'm just going to have to deal with that. But I think it looks a lot better. Like I said, it's more for function than it is looks, but it does ride down the road a lot better. The mirrors, obviously we don't have any cracks in the mirrors anymore, and these mirror caps, you know, they have some chips in them too, but it's better than having, you know, this is all cracked. But both the lights work, and like I said, it rides better. The one thing I did find, and as you guys can probably see on my concrete here, is it is leaking power steering fluid. Now, whether it's coming, it looks like it's coming out of the rack. The good thing is we have another parts truck in the back, so let me know if you guys want to see me swap out the rack on this thing. It'll probably be after I get the motor started, or the motor process started. I still haven't even pulled the motor out of that other Silverado yet. I need to get on that, and I told you guys I wasn't going to show you that, and I'm not, because I showed you on the blue truck. But let me know in the comments what you think. This is a pretty cheap, well, I think it can be a cheap one if you go to a salvage yard and find those. Like I said, I'll try to find some on eBay and link it down below, what you would be looking for. And then the wheels, the same thing. While they're not my favorite, they do look a lot better on this truck than the ones that it had before. And I got brand new tires, so we should be good to go as far as driving for a while. Now, like I said, I am going to be replacing the headlights, so look for a video on that very soon. I am going to upgrade to LEDs, just because it is so much nicer when you're driving it at night, and we are going to be using the crap out of this truck. It's going to be hauling dirt for my landscaping. It's going to be used like a truck. I know a lot of you guys think that I just have a bunch of cars that I'm never going to use, but this one is going to get used. So it's not going to turn into what the green truck is, or the Trans Am is, or the Tahoe will eventually be. But if you did like this video, guys, like always, please smash that thumbs up button. If you are not subscribed, guys, go down, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell icon while you're down there. That notifies you every single time we drop a new video. And, well, stay tuned to see what we get into next.